That's right, ladies and gents. You know what time it is when you hear that piece of music, right? Yes, it's time for the House of Lords, the dynamic trio. Just call us the Three Musketeers. Or in the mainstream eyes, the Three Renegades. But who's to know?
All right.
Easy.
What's going on?
It is season 2. I don't know what episode this is. This
11,
is episode
11.
11.
Yeah.
Maybe 11 of season 2. Right here on the old YouTubers. We haven't been around recently because the gremlins have just been like hijacking us.
Yeah, we've been fighting.
Terrible.
We're fighting, but we know what I mean. We get through, right? Continue on.
I just do want to send a big shout out to YouTube actually while we're here for doing some editing for us on our behalf. We appreciate that.
Yeah, mate. Thanks. Save me that work. You know what I mean?
So if you've been wondering where we are, well, we've been out in the world and it's internet. We've been out in the world, in the wibbly wobbly world of internet. All right, Yanni, what?
All good, bruv. Just rocking and rolling. Just observing.
Nah, when he tried to kill the music, I saw it as a professional. I was watching. I watched all your hand gestures and everything. It's like, kill it. He wanted to say something. Didn't he, Marius?
Nah.
Marius, when did you get released?
We started already, mate. Bloody hell. Brother Marius, we see him.
What can I say? He just looks so...
He looks like he's ready. So, right. But you know what?
I'm good. I was just confused. I was like, they're calling me. They're calling me. I started to panic. I was like, what am I doing?
Shit.
Oh, we lied.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong again, Marius.
We lied. You didn't tell me that we lied. Now we lied. Okay, I get it now. I get it. Oh, sorry. I just lost it there for a minute. I had my moment. You know what I mean?
Was you just like staring into space, just dreaming away? Forgot he was on it.
If we talk about men's mental health,
is that what we're doing?
So the title says, you know what I mean? It's what's up with fatherhood and men's mental health.
Yeah, what's up with fatherhood and men's mental health? Huh?
Yeah, what is up with that?
What's up with my moment? What is up with let me do my moment of being mental for a moment, so you know what I mean. We just get it started. So.
Okay.
Now I got it out of the system. Let's go.
Okay. Cool. We like that. Thank you. See that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
See that if you do the work. So where do we kick off? Do we kick off with why the fuck were fathers impeded on doing their job right within the last 4 years, or should we kick off with before? I don't know.
Right, disclaimer: you may hear some vulgar language on tonight's show. You may hear some extreme points of view being expressed throughout the show, and if you are of a sensitive disposition, an air of caution to your sensitivities. This is a potential minefield.
Or you can go and make yourself a chamomile tea, because so they say the chamomile tea helps you calm down, so you can actually go through it without having to be triggered.
And I had that word in my head. I was waiting for it. There it was. Yeah, for those of you who feel like you might get triggered. Okay, if you've listened to us before, then when we say, for those of you who feel like you might be triggered, I won't have to say the rest of the sentence. You should just look back and then hear what is said.
Because if you don't, at some point in the
the chamomile tea might be the answer. To put you in a place of
we could obviously go. we could obviously go various places on this subject, right? We really could. Really could.
Where do we begin?
How did you find Fatherhood, Iano?
How did I find it?
Yeah.
Directly after birth. Yeah. No, how did I find it? It found me. No,
I googled it.
I found it on Google. Right. It's going to be one of them fucking
I
shows,
YouTubed
is
it,
it?
bruv. I YouTubed it, bruv. No. I don't think YouTube was around. I don't think YouTube was around when I first became a father. I don't think it was. But how did I find it? You just, I don't know. It turned up.
What do you mean you wasn't around? How young?
I don't know when YouTube started. Was it in the 90s? Was it in the 90s?
I don't know. I don't think so.
See. I think it was a 2000s.
I don't think it was 90s. Yeah, I think we're in the 90s.
Exactly. So that's the reason why YouTube weren't around when I became a father. So there was no looking at a video and seeing some geezer with nappies and a couple of babies around him saying, "This is how you do it, boys. It's easy." Nah, it just happens. You find your way. You jump in.
But you had Merc at the time. You remember? MIRC, Merc, the chat. Yeah, that you could chat around.
Oh,
back in the 90s.
I remember the chat rooms, but I don't remember Mark per se. Who is
Merc? It's MIRC, Merc. You don't remember it?
No.
It was just chatting with people online.
Just text messages.
Yeah.
Because I remember online.
Basically.
I remember that early, online chat rooms. Early online chat rooms.
Yeah, which were basically just group text messages when they were in comparison now. Just a group text sport.
Exactly. It's early though. You needed big servers and big computers to do it. Now it's on your phone.
Well, I just want to quickly say hi to Melissa, and Melissa just shared with us that YouTube is 19 years old. 19.
Is that it?
Apparently, so Melissa said. I don't know.
Wow,
but, yeah.
That's awesome. So it started in 2005.
I don't know if that's awesome or just made me feel real old. Do you know what I mean? Just like, is that it?
I'm gonna go with awesome.
You're gonna go with awesome, yeah?
I'm gonna just go with awesome.
I'm still. Is that it? Just 19. I've got children older than YouTube.
Yeah,
same here. Same here.
Does that make us old? Nah.
Nah. Makes us middle-aged, bruv.
That's the reality, isn't it? That's the reality of it. Let's fucking face it. That's the reality of it.
It's all gone mental. No wonder we talk about mental health. We've gone mental.
Do you know what? Right? Did any of yous have any when you first born? Right? Did you have any kind of bizarre dreams or anything like that before you became a dad?
Well, the one bizarre dream that I had, but it went away. It was this. I used to have this dream that no matter what I did, I couldn't save certain people. No matter what I did, no matter what I did, and I mean this dream will come.
Oh, the jelly punch dreams.
The gain and the come on, all I've got to do is whack him one good time, but my legs just won't move. Come on, do you know what I mean? And eventually, I do. Eventually you fucking do some weird move, and you find that you suddenly become awake. And the entire mattress, you like your duvet and stuff has gone up against the wall, and your leg is like, and then you're like, oh, I'm in bed. Okay, yeah. But you never got him.
So you just kept having funny dreams like that. Why your missus was pregnant?
Yeah.
The mystery intruder.
Yeah, not even an intruder. Just me not being able to save certain people, not them. It was just somebody else in the dream. I was fighting somebody.
Could that be a psychological
felt
reaction, subconscious reaction to now having to step up and guard somebody with your life.
Yeah, exactly. All of that. It's like, are you up to it? Are you worthy? Them types of little things going on. You know what I mean? You know, and I felt later on.
Real thing. Well, I can only speak on my own experience. It's a real thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's
what about yourself, man?
What about you, Maris?
I don't recall it. It may have been. I don't recall it. It might be my mind being, smart, saying you don't need to recall that, so forget it. But it may have happened. No, I can't recall anything because, my first child was in the 90s, late 90s. So, yeah, don't recall any weird kind of dream or anything. Even though in that period of my life, I did have some weird dreams where I falling onto the abyss, which may have been within that period, which can be something to do with you're gonna be a father. What the fuck? Do you have no clue what you're doing?
Falling into the abyss.
It's like,
but that's all joking on one side. That's a good point to be. You know, that question: Do I know what a father is? Do I know?
Right.
You know. Am I capable to do that? I suppose why I asked the dream one, right, before we go down that other avenue. Right, I used to have this dream, especially with my firstborn. I don't know how long I was in my regiment. I'd not long been in my regiment, and I kept having this dream that her head kept falling off. No kidding. Like, you know, one of those China dolls with the porcelain heads.
Yeah.
So I'd pick the baby up, and his head had fallen off.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting.
And that was almost like through the whole time of the pregnancy. It's like, this is nuts, right? Because in real world, you know, that's not logical. You know, it's not going to happen. Right. But yeah, no matter what, every time I had a dream about the baby, especially my first one, just every time I picked it up, it's like, it fell apart. It's like, but again, that's most probably a psychological manifestation of a projection of my own childhood, you know what I mean? Coming to bits.
Right.
Was that after you came back from the army, or were you in the army?
Or was it during?
No, that was during. Yeah.
No wonder, seeing what the world is like out there, you'd be like, what? What am I bringing a child into? Like,
I'll say.
Yeah.
I'll say.
Yeah, fair point there, man. Fair point there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I had my child after I came off the national service of the army. So, yeah. But you had a totally different experience than mine anyway. So it's different experiences. But at the same time, when I look at fatherhood, if it's one thing that I was contemplating on is I'm not going to be like my father. Definitely going to be different. And probably it's most of us that we've gone through it. Well, not most of us, but most of us that have had a more challenging relationship with the father. And it's probably like, that's not the right way. And you have an idea that I'm not going to do that. But then you find out somewhat there's some things that do show up without you being aware of it.
Right.
So they've been ingrained in you.
Well, you know what? At this particular moment in time, hold that ingrained thought, because it's about that time for our first little one. So hold on.
I pressed the button and it could start at any moment. I don't know what's going on. It's just gone all glitchy. It's through our immersion in our own experience. I can't stress that enough, because you are the architect. You are the pilot of your journey. You're the actor, the thespian. Now, you could take the lead role and talk into, you said, Yorick's head. Or you could be a little extra at the back that doesn't have many lines at all and doesn't like to be seen. A meek little butterfly. It is your choice. completely your choice. Now, the insightful aspect of all of that is you now are aware, you have been made privy to, again, like you heard me say the other day, you are now illuminated into the insightfulness of your possibility, where you therefore are the architect, you are the director, you are the key star, or if you wish, a quiet little extra of your own existence. That in itself is insightful. Fascinating. And if you want to know what that is all about, get yourself off over to the mindgym.club. That is the mindgym.club.
And we're back.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little first installment of our first segment of the show as we're exploring fatherhood, mental health, and all the things in between. And we're trying to explore. Iani was dreaming about, what was it? Falling? Who was it? What was he falling?
Marius was falling into the abyss.
Marius was falling into the bits, and you was
and I was unable.
You couldn't protect
those
yeah,
kicks.
you was unable to protect.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
And then your head was falling off. I mean, your
my kids were just falling apart in my hands. I don't know what that says about my character. Like, you know?
But yeah, I was going to say though. But so I was going to say to you two, like fatherhood. You know, what does it mean? What does it mean to you two?
I have to fess up.
Go on.
Really, because I haven't always been the best father. Not at all. In some cases, for some of my children, I'm very much an absent father. So it's not that one would consider it being uncomfortable, but I feel like I'm not in a place to describe what a good father is when I myself, on so many levels, have fallen short of the mark. Don't get me wrong, that's not to say I don't have a fabulous relationship with a couple of my children now as young adults. And that's fabulous to me. But go on, Iani, I can see you want to say something.
Yeah, because I never said the word good. You carry on now.
All right, then. Okay. Again, he did that deliberately to highlight a subconscious projection of my own thoughts on fatherhood and me being one. But yeah, I suppose that was followed up by my own confessions, though, on this notion of fatherhood. When I was young, you know, there was one stage, that archetypal projection of what you think father is and what you think a man is and everything else. And for all intents and purposes, that was quite a toxic projection of my own. Observing the peers of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and their examples of what males were, was certainly out of touch with my own generation, I suppose. But there's been also being a foster, a stepfather was a very unique experience, because it's a very different role that you take on. You know, it's a very different approach with your own children. There's almost that nonchalant kind of acceptance that you'll always be loved because you're always dad or you're always mum. You know, with stepchildren, it was a very different ball game, because the one slight and you could lose the trust. It takes you ages to build that trust, and the slightest wrong, you could lose it. Very different kind of personages as a father, as I grew, you know, as an individual. My perceptions and standards and comprehensions of what I thought a father was, what I thought a male was, whom I thought I was, and that's evolved over time. You know, I'm now in a fabulous position where I'm phoned nearly every day by some of my children, which is fabulous. But that's kind of my. I don't know what the question was. What's a father, Marius?
I'm here. Well, I suppose the question was, what's your version of fatherhood, though? Um, I was talking about the things that are ingrained growing up with the fathers. Some have grown up with the fathers, some have grown up without it, some have grown up with stepfathers. But one of the things that I I looked at it is like not to be like my father, that cold person in a way. Not realizing that I was doing it myself. And the question was, is there such a thing as a perfect father or a good father? Like Yanni highlighted when you were saying I wasn't always a good father. I would say that you are the perfect father for your children. Because even through when I realized that even the relationship that I had with my father and the way he was and he still is, because he's still alive, um, it taught me lessons. Now that was for me to learn the lessons. Now back a few years ago, I didn't look at it that way because I was looking at it in a totally different way at life itself. You okay, honey? And you know, I didn't look at it that way. I looked from a point of judgmental point, like judging, because father should be that way. The parent should be that way or whatever. Until I was introduced to the fact that we all have our journey and we all do our best with what we have in the moment. Now, there may be people that would come on and say that's not fair because my dad did this and my dad did this, and yeah, that's fair. That's fair to come with that argument. The thing is, it is the journey that we travel and what we experience. It's not there to put us down. We put ourselves down if we look at it from a point of that wasn't right. But then we forget to look at what have I learned from it? What can I do different to break that cycle? Like when I said at the beginning, I didn't want to be like my father. But did I understood what I meant by saying that? No, because I was looking at it from a point of judging another soul that has that. Now, if I judge, it's like I'm the perfect one. But why isn't he the perfect one too? Why isn't every single one of us the perfect one? Because we are in our journey. Now, some become more conscious, more aware of it, and then they start to make changes or differences. Some unconsciously make changes for whatever reason I can't explain. But the thing is, we are on our journey, and to be the perfect father or the perfect mother, but now we talk about fatherhood. The perfect father is, in my view now, is the one that you have, because someone doesn't have one, and he wished he would have one, right? So if you have a father, no matter what the relationship you may have with, or if you had a father, no matter what the relationship you had, and you probably looked from a point of judging, maybe asked what you've learned from it, what it taught you. How did that help you be alive today? Because actually, life can be finished just like that because of one decision. But because you have the father or the mother or the sister or the brother that you had around you or the friends, you have learned something that kept you safe, kept you alive. Because it's not right to be alive. It's what you do, what we do, what I do in order for me to still be alive. And that's not only on actions, which actions are the vast majority of it, but also of what I've learned from all the interactions through my lifetime until now. Now, there can be a point where someone, or even myself, end up in a different scenario where I put myself in danger. That's also part of my journey. And I'm there to accept it if it does happen, for whatever reason. But the perfect father, you had it from the moment that you've been conceived. From the moment I was conceived, my father, he gave me the gift of life in order for me to be here in this reality, in this, to experience life the best I can, as he can do the best he can. And that's how I look at it. I don't ask for anyone to agree with me. I actually like if someone do disagree with me, because then we can have a deeper discussion about it and then see what I can learn from it, or if there is something that you can learn from it. But a father, which some may say is not only, planting the seed that makes you a father. Yeah, I understand that. But if that seed wasn't planted, you wouldn't be here. And some fathers, because when we talk father, right, it also implies the relationship that you create with the children, being there for them and all that, right? It's part of being the father. Because some are the fathers of children that they didn't conceive and maybe better at doing that job than the father that conceived it. It's a complex, it's quite a complex subject when you think about it. Now I'm going through it, I'm like, there is no one way or the other. It's such a multiple complex subject to look at it for, because all the society has been telling us that the right father should be that way, the right mother should be that way, and it's never the truth. We all here on a journey, and the best we can with what we have, with what we learn, with where we are, in the awareness that we have. If someone is unconscious of its actions and creates, or some may say, hell around them, that's what they earth. And the moment you recognize that, you don't hold it from a place of judgment. You just understand that that's where the person is. And it's up to me if I respond or I react. If I react, they win because they make my life hell. If I respond, then they don't. And it's interesting that I said they win, but it is, in a way, how it's being seen as they win. But they're the ones that can affect you, that can make your life hell if you react, because you react from the emotions that are connected to all these experiences from the past and all the unsolved trauma, as some people talk about it. And some people are more specialists, than talking about trauma, like Dr. What's his name? Gabe, I think his name. Gabe, or Gabe, I think it is. And I did watch it. He goes quite insightful. But when you look at when he talks about his life, you see that he's been through quite an interesting, that word again, interesting. It's been quite a complex life, quite a complex childhood, and there is a lot that drove him towards being who he is and studying all of that. And from what I remember, I believe his brother died quite young, and that had an impact on his family. You can search because he's got an interview where he talks about it. But all of the ones that start studying this trauma usually they've been through it. And is there any human being that ever been through an event that can be traumatic? Not because it was an event to be traumatic, but because it was perceived as the person that is traumatic for them for whatever reason. While someone else will look at it and be like, is that what you call traumatic? I mean, should I share my life? I don't know, I just went on a ramble there, James, but I was just exploring with all of the different ways you can look at when you talk about fatherhood and how you can, look from different sides. But for me, I came to the realization that we are on a journey. Am I the perfect father? I am the perfect that I can be. I am. And it's for my children to decide if, in their eyes, I'm the perfect for them. But I can't choose for them to decide if I'm perfect for them. I'm the perfect in my journey with everything that I'm going through and I'm sharing with them. So it's part of the journey.
Fair play. Fair play. So, was there any point, where you found yourself, and this is both for you gentlemen, where all got a bit much? It was more than you thought it was going to be. Where you thought the whole thing challenging in it, and it really did push your mental faculties to their limits.
Well, it changes your life completely. The moment you become a father, doesn't matter if you have one or two or three. The moment you became a father, there's an extra responsibility that you have in your life.
Mm.
And that changes the life completely. It's not like you can go wherever, whenever, as you used to, because there's a child that's dependent on you. Now, I'm not saying that there are not people out there that they don't give a fuck about that and they just go and do it. It is what it is, right? It's part of life, tapestry of life. Either it's right or wrong, that's another story. But yeah, it did change my life. Everything overnight. It's like, yeah, there you go. Life change.
Okay. Mm. Yeah, but how about yourself, Ione?
Yeah, for sure. It's an all-encompassing change. I was used to sleep, deep, sleep, finish studio, out, just cold. So that when I wake up in the morning, somehow refreshed. I go run in. Yeah, it's great. And then I remember when my youngest turned up. I was in a new country, new relationship, the whole bit. My youngest turns up. And up until that point, you're going along. My youngest turns up. And I was going along. But I do remember the first day that she was at home. And the first night I went to bed and then woke up in the morning. That was the real sort of like, oh, because normally I wake up and I look out and I can see over the lake, right, where I lived before. And this time I'm being woken up to, there's this noise that I didn't recognize coming out of sleep. And it was like a double vocal scream. It had a pitch up here and then there was another bit in there. And it was just ringing out. And to hear that, in the first thing you're hearing that, you're like, well, what's going on? What's that? It's like, hold on. And then as it's happening and you're beginning to wake up, it's my first night home and my first sleep. And then there's that realization. It's like, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Small ones right here. That's the sound I'm hearing. And that's me waking up. And in my head, it's all coming together. I'm just like, oh. And then that was it. And then you know what? That day after, yeah, all that sound sleeping stuff that I used to do disappeared out the window. Now I was like sleeping with my ear, so I could hear her. So even if I did go under, I was now my body was different. I'm different. There was none of this 12 hours, 10 hours, proper 8 hours. I don't even remember the last time I had 8 hours sleep since she was born. That was 16 years ago. So it's like, yeah, definitely different. It definitely changes your everything. Everything, career, you name it. It there you go, and you can choose.
Do you remember Yanni when you held it in your hands for the first time? Because I remember, it's
Bruv,
like when you have that, like it's like holding something that is
Bruv.
like rubber because he bent it all.
Bruv, the moment I mean, that wasn't so crazy. It was just the tears that poured from me. It was just the emotion that suddenly, especially when I put the little forehead up to my forehead and just said hello, and that was it. I was like trying not to flood her out with tears in the face, right? It was like, oh, it's so beautiful. What is, but yeah, and there it was. I was like, I couldn't even see her. I was like, this is the best moment in my life, and I can't see her because my eyes are filled with water. It was so yeah, that's the sort. But yeah, that when I first held her, the real hold, when I got home like this, and I was really with her, and there's a picture of us as well, just like almost a silhouette type thing, and yeah, just everything poured out of me right there. I was like, okay. So yeah, what can I say, man? That's yeah, never forget that. Just tears, powerful tears. Never forget it.
So, how about yourself, Carl? How was your experience? Has it changed anything in you? Anything happened?
I can only kind of second or third what you guys have said, really, on the front of does it change? It changes fucking everything. And that's no kind of mean slight. That's no sleight of hand saying it changes everything. I've done the working dad role and I've done the home dad role, and parenting's just as lovely and as rewarding as it can be. It's just relentless. It's yeah, like a juggernaut. You don't get a day off. There ain't that day off. There ain't none of that. There ain't, I can't be asked today. No, that ain't happening.
I'm not going to work today.
Yeah. I remember one stage in my life, there was 4. We had like one of those double buggies. There'd be one stood on the back. There'd be 2 in the buggy, sat on the front. It's like, logistical nightmare no matter where you were going. Someone was going to be sick. It's and it certainly changes that dynamic of your life, just without a shadow of a doubt. And it even kind of pushes you into more tolerance of insufferable bosses, because you know that you can't just go, fuck, I'll go get another job down the road. Right? Because now little Jessica and little Sarah are proper fucking relying on you, to go get the money. So, but that's choices we make, isn't it?
That's right.
But on the grounds to changing profusely. I remember my first baby, and I came from a big family. I come from a big family on both sides, and so there's always been kids. As you're growing up, there's always kids. Someone's always got a bunch of kids. There's always a bunch of kids. And I used to see, the grandparents, my mother and my aunt said they'd pick up a newborn, a niece or a nephew, and it'd all be gentle and lovely and watch it said and everything, all that kind of stuff. And then the males in my family would just pick a newborn up by its baby grow. So it was like one of those fairground grab machines where you're trying to get a bloody cuddly toy, and that's how the males used to pick up the toddlers, just grab it by its baby grow and pick it up, so it was all heads and arms just dangling. So I remember my first one, you know, it's like, oh my God, especially with the nightmares of the head falling off and all the rest of it, you know, all of that stuff. And come the 6th, yeah, you're getting picked up by your baby grow. You're just, you know, you realise that we're so much more tougher than we led to believe. You know, really quite amazing. And like I say, you get to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and you're throwing them up in the air. They're doing backflips. They're getting launched across a room onto the bed. You know, it's like they're having a whale of a time. And then you come across those new parents, do you, where they've got everything. They've got the sterilizer. They've got all the gadgets. You know, they've got all the gadgets, and there's nothing more precious in the universe than their baby, right? You know, their baby's different, right, than all the others. And they've got it all. And then you see the veteran, yeah, where there's one over the shoulder. She's warming a bag under her arm. She's fuck, yeah. Sod all that. Boil it in the kettle. Just put the bottle in the kettle. Just put it in the kettle. It's fine. No, just take the lid off the kettle. Put it in the kettle. Just boil it. Right? You know, none of that. Yeah, that's Sam. Give it to him. That's it. And you can see how it all changes. How it all changes from one to no matter what number it is that you go up to. You know, you realise they're a lot more resilient. Yeah, and you know, the first one and the last one are poles apart. Do you know what I mean? No matter what it is, no matter who family, because like I said, I come from a family of big numbers, right? So it's like the last one's always the wild one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The first one's dead sensible. Yeah, yeah. The first one, I don't know if the last one's spoiled, but the last one just gets away with bedlam, because I think by the time the last one's there, we're all fucked. Right? You know what I mean? It's like, just go out, mum, he's got the match. Just take him off it. You know, and the whole thing's a bit like it. He's sort of like somebody come along. He's going to fall down on there. I know. Don't you think you should get him? No. I told him not to go up there. So did his fucking brother. And then you see him fall. Fucking told you, didn't I? You know what I mean? And then, like I said, you go back to the new parent and they're horrified because, you know, the little newborn stumbles and they panic and they go running. You know, come the end of it, Mark is they jump off a bloody slide and land on their head, and they're like, yeah, cool. Yeah, because there was never that panic reaction. Right. You know, you see that panic reaction and the effect it has on a child.
Have you guys ever had the experience? Because I had, and I guess you guys had it too. When you had your child, and the ones that had no children, they were teaching me how to.
I've got a dog. It's the same thing. I've got a dog.
And the interesting thing was, like, for example, when I was going to parties and all that, and I was like, I have to go home because, you know, the little one is like, oh, don't worry about it, you know. No, I'm like, okay, I'll stay another hour. I'll just, you know, be more malleable and stay another hour. And baby will fall asleep on the music and all that, you know, shouting, and which was good because the baby will get used to the noise and they can sleep through anything. But then the next thing, they have a child, they leave at 7. And I'm like, you kept me till fucking 12. Mm-hmm. When I had my till 12 at a time. But now you have a child, you leave at fucking 7. So what happened with you telling me that it's fine for my baby? What about yours? Isn't it fine for your baby too? And it's just, when I look back at it, I'm like, just the irony of all of it. It's just, it's incredible.
And do you know what? I know. Do I? I don't know, but I'm going to say it anyway. Fuck it. Right? And it's the difference. I'm not saying how we were raised was right. I'm not, but I'm not knocking it either. Right? But there's a clear fucking difference. There's a clear difference in the personality types. I mean,
okay, let's just get.
I saw somebody said a picture the other day, right? And I was going through some pictures of myself, some family photos, and there's all the kids, myself included, round the table, right, full of people. Every adult, right's got an ashtray next to them, a bottle of drink, this, that, and the other. There's one woman in the background, right, that's got me nephew, right, holding a nephew. She's got one fag in this mouth, and she's got a bottle like that, right. And then you see the family dudes, you know, where we had that cloud of smoke. You remember the cloud of smoke that used to go through the front room? Right, remember that, right? Or in any workingman's club, and there'd be all the kids in there would be all playing, laughing, and joking. Some of them went on to be world record breaker runners, right? Yeah. Now you get these people, don't you? Passive smoke, my child. Fuck off! Just fuck off! Your child's gonna be fine, right? Fine. That's just it.
But they'll buy McDonald's for this.
You know, it's not that precious. I don't want to be an arse, right?
It can't be that precious if you're sending it to McDonald's.
Give them some McNuggets or whatever.
It's nuts. It just beggars belief. Do you know what I mean? It just beggars belief. Belief. You're seeing them nowadays being pumped up with aspartame, franking juice, and they've had 42 fucking injections by the time they're 6 months old, and you know they're sitting there, but they got every element going on. They're allergic to the planet that they were born on, right? And it's like, you're worried about my fags. Fuck off. We grew up just fine.
Exactly.
Just fine.
We made it.
Just fine. We made it.
Made it right here.
We were smoky workman's clubs. Do you know what I mean?
No helmets right, when we were learning to ride bikes. We didn't learn to ride bikes on the softest of grass and, you know, the perfectly No, we learned to ride bike on the concrete with your mates. With your friends. Dad weren't running behind me, pushing my bike. It was, you got a bike, yeah. All right, I pushed it to the top. I walked to the top of the hill with mates and I got on it. And I did that whole thing and then, here we go. Now I'm going straight. Now I'm going straight. Now I'm riding.
And all that.
There was no turning. I was riding in a straight line down the hill. I crashed into the car that was coming from... Yeah, fine. So what? Slid underneath it, right? The bike slid underneath. I slid off. Couple of scrazes. Took the bike. Was it rolling? Yeah, both wheels are working. Chains on. Back up the hill. Start again until I get it right. Until I can go round the corner and cycle. That's how I learnt to ride my bike. There was no helmet or arm pads, knee, shin pads. There was none of that.
No.
The thing with the skateboard which was very dangerous. He only needed a little stone to be.
Hey, look, you know what?
I got a story on them little fucking stones, right? Them little stones. I don't know if you remember, right? Before the wooden boards, right? You had them funky plastic ones. Remember the narrow pointy ones, right? Now, I'm 2 foot, if that, right, tall, and I'm going around on my knee. Do you know where you kneel on it? Yeah. So you put one knee on it and then you use the other one and you steer about. I'm under the flats having a joy, a great time, like, having fun. A tiny little fucking thing, like, tiny little fucking thing, right? So you're going along, so you're hearing this noise, clickety click, click 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 click, as you're going over frigging slabs, and then you hear that clickety click, clickety click, right? As it stops and you see the skid mark of the stone as your face just plants straight into the floor and knocks your 2 front teeth back into your face. Right. And then 20 minutes later, with a mouthful of blood, you're back on your knee. Stupid back then. It's crazy. Crazy.
I was remembering, just as you were saying that, I was remembering the jump where me and my mates had 4 of us. We'd made a ramp and then we were jumping, and where we landed was where we put the bike to one side and you lay there, and then your friend has to jump over you.
Yeah,
and then where they land, they put and then where they land, they put their bike on, and then you're there, right? So I'll never forget me and my mates. So each one, I went down first. I'm laying there. My mate jumps over, boom, and it's getting close to where you're landing on the you're landing on the arm.
Landing on your
Do
mate.
you know what I mean? On the arm, back of the legs as you're coming down, right? As you're coming down, but you're still going through, and you're not busted yet. Nothing, right? So I remember the last jump I did. The last one I'm remembering was really. I rode all the way back. I said, I've got to clear it. I rode all the way back. Got to clear it. Jumped up, put everything into the lift. Went up. I saw my friends say, I looked kind of like that. I sailed over them. I come down. Back. I'm on the back wheel. I'm doing all I can to push down so that the front wheel goes down, so I've landed it. But I'm pedaling like on the what, and then bike goes away. My hands and knees come down. Dude, I come to a standstill, literally on all fours, with that. You remember when they they was tarmacking and then those little stones? Oh, mate, pulling them out your knees, out of the palms of your hand, like, because now they're in. Now you've run them.
Right, Iane.
Yes.
I dare say it's about, press that tie, have a look for Marius trying to get in the background as well, because he's just sent a message saying he got kicked out.
He did? All right. Oh, is he just frozen? Yeah,
right, he's just frozen.
Yeah, all right, cool. Here we go. Let's just do something here. Right. And whilst we do a little finding and see where Master Marius is. No, I don't know, where is he? Well, I'm sure he'll come back. Marius, if you can hear us, just come back. Okay, if you can hear us, buddy, just click on out. And then come on back. Click on the same link. You'll be fine.
Out and back, mate.
Out and back. Meanwhile, let's jump back into the screen here because ding. Yeah. Again, just meanwhile, just jump on in and jump on back 1 second. Oh, tell you what. Let's get rid of Marius there first of all, so that we can come back in. Meanwhile, Carl.
Yeah.
What? What say you? What say you, mate? What say you?
It's a funny thing in our childhood, isn't it? These memories and everything else, this idea of fatherhood. I don't know how we ended up going back to being children, but now we're seeing, this new generation of children that are fundamentally different. The world is very different. I mean, when we turn around and say, well, we had a childhood in a world without the internet.
Right.
So it's almost laughable with some of these at the moment when we turn around and say, well, all three of us here are older than the internet.
That's true. Yeah.
That's the world we grew up in as children, where you had to knock for people. You had to go out, you had to learn some stuff, you had to learn etiquette, you had to learn how to speak to frigging Simon's mum, or you had to learn how to speak to Jessica's dad because he was militant, and if you were rude, he'd just shut the door in your face.
Right.
And
conduct yourself
and again, all them schools of hard knocks as well, falling over and all the rest of it. I remember the same kind of principle with the old gravel rash. Diving down on a grass. I think we told this story one episode before. Dive down on the grass, sliced my hand open. It's like, oh my God. Gone upstairs, and the old man, without even blinking his eyes, like, oh, that's knackered, that, mate. I might have to chop your arm off. Like, what? Yeah, we're going to have to chop your arm off. And he grabs the knife out of the kitchen and pretends to go cut your arm off. And then the idea of a trip up to the hospital just to get a few stitches seems a lot more desirable than having to lose your fucking arm, doesn't it?
Exactly.
All right, and that was the twisty the way it was. And then you grow up, like I said, and then you begin to learn who you are as an individual, all those times where you was just thinking your parents were arseholes, and then you're in the same position. And you're like, oh, no, just go to bed. I don't care what you want to watch. Just go to fucking bed. You've been up since yesterday. Right? I'm going to kill you. Right? And there's this thing, isn't it? It's like my children and everything else, because it's funny. One of my daughters laughs and jokes. Is like, my dad's proper Gen X. Right? And that's what she tells her friends. It's like, no, if you, there ain't a safe space or appropriate dialect if, you know, we're speaking to my dad. Right? And there's part of me that almost like, it's like I've become of age. I've become that old cantankerous git.
Yeah.
But there's not. I'm not. No, listen.
Not
I've been around long enough. I don't know what. I've been long enough. The sunshine. I don't know what you're expecting me to fucking say to make you feel uncomfortable, right? You do the 4.5 like I've done, and then we'll have a conversation. You know, those decades that we live. You know, I say 4.5 decades and all the rest of it, but it adds up. There's a lot that can go on in there.
Yeah.
So how did we end up getting it in today's world, having a lot of men having mental health issues?
You know, I'd like to shine a little bit of light. I can see how if you observe, if we observe men of old culturally, let's just look at the West, because obviously we're not incorporating like Africa, the Eastern Europe. I mean, the East. You know, India, China. We're not even incorporating those things. Right, let's just look. We're just talking about the West here. Let's just so we're clear. Because most of this shit comes from. Never mind. So, when you take a look at when you take a look, right? Yeah, when you take a look back and you say, right, then how did this mental health situation come on through? Culturally, you know, in the 60s, even in the 50s, right? Men weren't even allowed to say, men weren't expected to share any feelings. Like, weren't expected to share their innermost sanctum. Okay? So then, but you see, when man has gone through like a war, like they've gone out and served their country and they've seen, they were a school teacher prior to them enlisting in the 40s. And then they were in the war. And then when they landed, the first thing that happened is that the dude that was a welder, that was from Plymouth, that is in his ranks, as they come off the boat, right, his arm came away from his shoulder because a round took him through like that. When a human being first sees that, you're not being shot with a 9mm or a 380 little thing in your gut or something in your chest or something in your arm. Nah, your arms come off. And at that particular point, that school teacher, now turned infantryman, if he makes it back home, his very first thought is the relationship that he struck up with that fella. They had something in common. They were cool. They were out there. They jump in and all of a sudden he gets taken as he's coming off the boat. But in that sort of interesting way. So now when this guy comes back, who's he supposed to talk to? Who's he supposed to talk to about what's going on now? The repeated playing of that and many other scenes like that, whether to somebody else or him actually seeing the end of what it meant when he fired that and he saw the head go in the distance, and he knew that was a life. And these aren't the things that they're telling you about when he first enlisted. He didn't get told that. He was just, hey, pay patriot for your country, fight for your country. Great, yeah, good. Let's do something about that. But there are some images that even the early guys and ladies, were they ready for that? Are you ever ready for a situation like that? So when they come back, who are they talking to? No one could really understand. We saw the disparity when all these troops had come back from like the Vietnam War, you saw the disparity in the public and the troops. What the troops had gone through and what the public had seen on telly. And prior to that, it was even less detail in the 40s. How do we get
No,
there?
you're absolutely right, mate. Yeah, absolutely right. Broken people raising people. Unprocessed traumas going through all the rest of it. And it brings us to that saying, isn't it? Hard times bring about hard men. Hard men bring about easier times. Easier times bring about soft men. Soft men bring about hard times.
Yep.
And could we be seeing that perpetual treadmill
now,
come back round now? Do you know, come back
men.
round where we've got those soft men, and now countries are calling up for conscription or national service because for whatever reason these powers that be seem to be as hard as a rock over each other going to war, and it's going to create those people that brought about the likes of us in the first place. It's that vicious cycle again. It's like we're not going to learn because we're too busy with the shiny, you know. That's as long as this shiny's all right. Don't matter. We're not talking because this is my tribe. That's your tribe. You had your moment. This is our moment. Fuck up, right? And so all of a sudden, there you go. Now they're walking through the same shit that you walked through fucking 30 years ago. And it's like, well, we tried to fucking tell you, but you were too busy with the shiny, weren't you?
You know, I was
but
wondering.
Hey, here we are. Press that button, Yanni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What?
Marius.
There you go.
I was just about to say it's about the time to press that button with the right honourable Marius for what comes up. But as I said that, he was just about to say something, and then he did that prima donna fucking face.
Who did?
Fair enough. Right. So what we doing? What did you want to say before we go into that segment?
Well, I was wondering how much is the fact that all these new laws that kept being put in place, where it shut down man's voice in the society in a way that you are emotionally affecting others. If you see something wrong and you say something, you know, you're not allowed to anymore. You're not allowed to. Not that you're not allowed, but the law will see you from a place of it's not right because of the world that it's been kind of shaped in the latest couple of years, at least. Well, it's going on for a few years, but it's gone to that point right now where, you know, you go out in the city, and it was interesting to observe. Actually, that was a few months ago. I was in town center here, and all of a sudden I've noticed that there were two girls bullying another girl and recording her. So as soon as I saw that, I started shouting and going towards them to see what's going on. But no one else was saying anything until I started to shout and say, well, what are you guys doing there? What are you guys doing there? And we're going to. That's when someone else got involved in it too, because they were with their missus. And I'm like, and don't even say anything. I mean, you see one girl being bullied by two other girls, and you say nothing. What kind of world do we live in? Seriously. And I wonder how much that has an impact on men and their mental health, because they have to suppress themselves and say, no, don't say anything. You'll be in trouble if you do that. No. It's like it's continuously kind of like closing within. For me, I don't give a I'll speak if I see something in the if it gets me in trouble. But as Carl says, and you know, Gen X are the ones that but it doesn't matter, because the ones that they got involved when I shouted was at similar age like me fucking talking.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
There were many other people going by and just looking.
Yeah, but you see, here's the thing, gents, right? It would appear then that maybe the three of us have one thing in common, is that if we see nonsense on the street, we're stepping in regardless of who the fuck's saying anything. Right?
I'm calling it. Yeah.
Because, huh?
I'm calling it out. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, these things like, wait, what the fuck's that? You know what I mean? But we that world of those who don't. That world of those who literally will look out the window whilst the fight was broken out next to them, and they'll lean towards the window away from the action. Hopefully that it's nothing to do with me. I'm leaning over here. I can't see it. And the person's landed on you, bruv. The other fella's just landed on you. Yeah? It's happening. Fuck is that? I'm remembering a fight that took place with these guys trying to rob people on a bus that I was on in London one time, and I ended up getting into a Barney with them. So it's just like, look. And the dude was literally looking out of the window. He had nowhere to go. Double-decker bus, top stair. I saw it.
Season 1.
Do you know what I mean?
Remember this conversation?
Do you know what I
Season
mean?
1 on the bus.
Madness.
Up with a fat lip.
Yeah, yeah. Madness. Right?
But that being said, right,
let's put that button.
Go on. Yeah, press that button. Yes, ladies and gents, it's about that time again where we're going to be seeing what comes up with the Right Honourable Marius.
Silence. Just to be a silence for all the men out there struggling through these times of mental health. And I was wondering how much is this mental health has nothing to do with mental health itself, but has to do with the suggestion that there is an increase in mental health out there, and that suggestion get people to look at their own anxiety, in a way of being mental health, and just thinking that they have an issue. And then by thinking that they do have an issue, they start to perceive themselves in a different manner. And by doing so, they start to inflict on themselves that particular psychological effect called mental health. And it is as worrying as it can sound from a place where, we live in times where genocide is happening as we speak. Did I say that? I did say, but fuck it. It's the truth. When, you choose to put out there the banner of how safe and effective such a lethal injection, and get people scared. Some scared that they're going to die from a virus. Some in a place of fear that they'll lose their job, they'll lose their house, they'll lose everything if they don't take that. And end up taking something that they have no clue what's in it. Neither do I. I've heard many stories of many things that's in that. But if you don't know what's in it, what do you put inside you? How is that actually adding to the mental health? How is that actually having an impact on people's brains? Because everything we put within is going to change the structure of our body, our cells, our brain. That includes thought, ideas, information. Also includes food, drinks, smoking, injections. Do we live in a time where this event that's happening right now in mental health, and it's not just men, but we look at men for now because it's Men's Mental Health Month. They gave us something apparently. Not that they have to give it to us, but if it is, let's speak about it, because they try to cover it up with the Pride Month, which that's another thing that is connected to mental health, isn't it? If you think about it. If you go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, something like that would have happened back then. People will look at it totally different, will say the world is mad. Nowadays, because in a period of time, suggestions have been introduced through movies, through different programs, through different TV channels to make it okay. There is a part of humanity that just gets along with it, thinking that, yeah, I agree with it. And if you ask why, they can't give you the reason why. Just because they're entitled. Yeah, of course they're entitled. The thing is, what got us there? What got us in this place? Is there anything to do with all the chemicals that they've been placed in the sky, all the chemicals that's been introduced in our food under the banner FDA approved, all that bullshit? And when you look at FDA, what's FDA? Food, Drug and Administration. I mean, Food and Drug Administration. What the hell has the food and drug has to do? Where they connected? What's so you're telling me that there is some types of drugs that they're okay to put in people's food, while some people are labeled to be drug addicts because they take something else. But if it's prescribed, no, you're not a drug addict. It's prescribed by the doctor. The doctor knows what he's doing. Even though you've been hooked for the last 10, 15, 20 years, the doctor knows what he's doing. You didn't get any better yet. Instead, you are probably more depressed. The doctor knows what he's doing. And when you start to look at it, you realize that all of this is a bit more than just from one point of view. Is the way we've been brought up and the way we lived something to do with it? Most definitely. If you look at Socrates when he said that the biggest problem with humanity is the absolute ignorance. And we have been ignorant. All of us. Some more, some less, but we all have that part in it. Being ignorant of what's happening around. And I do agree that not everyone is at the same level of ignorance. Some are absolute ignorant. Some are at a different level of ignorance, which they slowly start to question. Some are even further where they just question it. They know we've been ignorant. And we've got us here as a humanity together because of that. We ignored whatever the governments have been doing through years. We ignored whatever the presidents, whatever the so-called corporations, and we ignored. We never looked into it. You know, when people, for a long time, I thought myself that all these drink companies, they're all different companies. But when you look into it, they're under the same banner. Same banner. Now, when you realize the power of being under the same banner, that you can change something, and it applies to all those companies, all those drinks, all those foods. Recently just came up, I was coming, allegedly, there is nanobots in the Coca-Cola. Now, when they say nanobots, they found nanobots in Coca-Cola. Now, Coca-Cola is one under the same brand, which they have all the others from, I believe it's Fanta and Pepsi and you name it. Now, they put in Coca-Cola. Why wouldn't they put in all of it? Or do they do it slowly? So if you try to find on the others at the moment, you can't find it. But later on, they'll be like, no, it's a month later, introducing on that one as well, because now they trust that one, but they don't trust this one. And they can, you know, it's a game of minds. If you still choose to drink a fizzy drink, it's fine. go for it. It's your choice. Be aware of it, that someone else is playing with it, knowing that it's having an impact on your body, on your thinking, on the way you think, the way you conduct yourself with others, the way you live, or the length of your life. You're still going to drink it. If you say yes, you're welcome to it. I'm not here to say to anyone what to do, what to think. But if people do want that change, do want to make a world a better place, how else can we do it without taking the actions that are required on ourselves first? Make that change on ourselves. If you're aware that something ain't good and it's poison, cut it down slowly. No one says you should go straight away. I've got something that, I'm still smoking tobacco. Recently, I came across a video where they were sharing that they put, that was in the United States. And if it's in the United States, yeah, I'm in the UK. What's the difference? Oh, you can say, no, but there are rules and all. Okay, but tobacco products, do they come from the United States, some of them? Yes, okay, then fair enough. And they put the COVID vaccine in tomatoes and tobacco. That means that they're attacking everything they can. It's on their last, I wouldn't say attack, but on their last step of doing as much impact on the human race as they can. If you think it's a bad thing, then do something about it. If you think it's okay, then do nothing. Just carry on. Carry on with whatever you think life is about. But stop pointing fingers. And I know I said stop pointing fingers because I mean it. Even though I don't like to tell people. But the thing is, why you point fingers at others if you're not capable of making the choice that's right for you? So someone else should care for you? Why? Haven't people realized by now that governments don't give a fuck about me and you and everyone else? How come, when I discussed a few months back and, with Yanni and Calabar, the fact that prior to 2020, if you ask people what they think about the government, they will say, I don't trust those fuckers. 2020 came and then they introduced the bloody vaccine and it was the first ones going on bloody queue to take one. Why? If you didn't trust them prior to that, what made you change your mind? The fact that they use that fear-mongering messages that you're going to die from it. I'm going to die anyway, one way or another. I'd rather die because of the way nature turns out and the way life turns out than to die because I take something that I have no clue what I'm taking. I'm not perfect. Yeah, there may still be products that I buy that I perceive as being okay, that they've been interacted with. But at the same time, I'm searching around, and finding something that's better. And also, I'm increasing my own frequency, the way I cook. I cook from a loving place because I'm cooking for myself. Carl shared that story. They know the story, the experiment with the rabbits, when they fed the rabbits poison in a loving, caring environment, and the rabbits didn't die. Why? Because it was a different frequency. There's no way we can make the world a loving place if we don't apply that on ourselves. What do you know? How do you know what love is if you can't love yourself fully? And that's what comes.
And there you had it, ladies and It's a beautiful rendition from the Right Honourable Marius with What Comes Up. As Marius said, it's time to make the change. Because he wants you to feel good. Right here on the House of Lords. For once in our lives. It's gonna feel real good. It's gonna make a difference. I'm gonna make it right. Anyway, we'll have to pay royalties if we carry on, but you get the gist.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I like that, Marius. I like that fundamentally. Make that change, make that change. Don't be pointing your finger at other people like Michael said, with a man in the mirror. That's what we've got to do, And that man in the mirror may be you, identifying as Jackie. Who knows? What's the matter? Why are you laughing? I was being serious.
Right, yeah. Okay, you carry on with that. Whilst I was like, and there was me about to come in with and if you feel the need to write to us in any way, shape or form, right? If you want to share what's going on in your life, right? Or you want us to talk about some topics that you're really into, right? Then please feel free to drop us a line here at the House of Lords 3 at gmail.com. I repeat, that is the House of Lords 3 at gmail.com.
I like the way you said any topics that you want us to talk that you're into. And my mind was like, yeah, but be prepared. It may not be what you want to hear.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, that could actually be a reality, right? You just send us in a topic and we're like, okay. And we go into it. And now you're horrified because you didn't expect it.
Just went in there with our boots on. I ain't even taking my shoes off. Hate this subject. Kicking heads off flowers and shit through the mind. Told you I didn't like that there.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, that can actually happen at any moment. So tread carefully. Be confident in your choice. And we will accommodate you as best we can.
Yes, we would. No, we would.
We would. What? What's funny? Wait, I was a bit. What was it? Was that wrong? Was that wrong? Was that wrong?
No, I don't think it was wrong.
Was that? Did I misstep somewhere?
No, I didn't say it was wrong, but the word
you was giggling
I'm
your
not
face off.
No, fuck off. I'm not going to accommodate anyone. I'm just going to speak whatever you want my perspective. I'm going to give it clear, right? Not from a point of accommodating anyone.
Right.
This is another thing, That's another thing. Accommodating others to feel whatever. Fuck off. If you want that from others, then you have to give others too. So don't ask for it.
It's definitely. But hold that thought, because do you know what? And now, ladies and gentlemen, you try to get out of it with a little shifty on some music there. All right. But that's not happening, ladies and gentlemen, because now it's time again for the man of the hour, the dude himself. I give you Carl with Hit the Pinboard.
Make a change for once in
I know you're out there with me right now. This is on the pinboard. Get with it. This is happening.
It's gonna feel real.
You're thinking, how could he be singing to this dirty child molester?
Gonna make it right.
Straight with it. All speculative. No evidence.
As I
Turn up the collarbone.
baby,
That That's what's on the pinboard, this fucked up weather. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Because I was out the other day and I put my coat on and the sun was shining, but I was freezing. And it's June. That is what's on the pinboard. No, I'm only kidding. What is on the pinboard? What could be on the pinboard? This weird wobbly, wibbly, wobbly world. There you go. Here's what could be on the pinboard, right? If you're a new father and you're an expecting father and you're worried, you're concerned. Yeah, you've heard us tomfooling and joking and laughing and joking and piss-holing about, we haven't really touched the depths of mental health or the stresses or the powers or the feelings of insecurity that fatherhood can bring up. We haven't touched upon the tens of thousands, if not millions of males that are absolutely heartbroken because their ex-partners weaponize their children and they feel suicide of that. But what we are going to do, we're going to reach out to you right now because it is June. It's Mental Health Week. Not Pride, not month or week, it's month. Right? So let's get our priorities right. Let's get our priorities right. Let's kind of put these things into perspective because if we're not right, then the world's not right. If we've got the fucking up, then we're going to war. Just look throughout history. It's that fucking simple. Men are miserable, they'll do all kinds of frigging crazy crap. Men are happy, they'll sacrifice themselves for people they don't even know. So what kind of men do you want to be? That's what it comes down to. I certainly went through a large portion of my life living the idea of a man. And I'm going to fucking admit it, right? There's not many that will. But the projected idea of what I thought man was, at times that man was incredibly violent. At times that man was incredibly chauvinistic. At times that man was incredibly opinionated, unapproachable. Going against all those kind of true nurturing aspects of what a male is. A protector, a guardian, a provider, a teacher, a carer. So many others. But we quite often thrust this persona, as Marius touched upon and Iani touched upon. I'm all right, Jack. We don't fucking talk about it, right? And that was our peers. That was our peer group. And that's what we grew up with. And we know that the world has changed. And people out there, now again, this ain't a dig. But you're not thick-skinned. You're not as robust within yourselves. And that's okay. You've been conditioned that way. There's no fingers being pointed. I'm not blaming anyone. So what we are saying, like Iani said before I was his arsing around, if you are a bloke and you're going through something, you're expecting, you don't know what to do. You got no one to talk to. Reach out to the House of Lords, and that email address is thehouseoflords3@gmail.com. Again, thehouseoflords3@gmail.com. And send us a message. Yeah, we laugh and joke. We piss ass around. Half the time we don't even know if we even touched upon a subject that the fucking show's called. But that's not to say if we didn't get a genuine letter of somebody that was going through something, they didn't know what to do, they haven't got that role, that male figure in their life. Give us a message. Hook us up. We might be able to offer or shed some light on what it is that you're going through. We're not perfect, but what we have done is fucked up an awful lot. Well, I know I have. And the best thing about that is that you learn an awful lot when you make mistakes. You really do. And when you've made as many as I have, you learn a lot. And sometimes that can be valuable. You can turn it around and offer it to somebody else so they don't make the same mistakes. So if you're worried, concerned on what a man is, what a father is, what's expected of you, and you just don't know, and you don't know your ass from your elbow because all your mates are the same age going, yeah, fuck it, it's geese, really geese. You don't have to do none of that fancy shit, don't fucking none of that stuff. Don't listen to none of that, right? Because that's wankers. All right? Tap into your emotional self. It's all right to be affectionate as a male. It's all right to to want to have a cuddle. It's all right to a fucking bubble bath after a hard day's work. I don't care who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with talking about your concerns and your worries. You're no less of a man because you've got concerns on how maybe a man should conduct himself. Because no matter where you look, there's all different types of fucking men, isn't there? All kinds. You know, there's soft men, there's the effeminate men, there's the alpha butch male. You know, there's the quiet, reserved type. There's the introvert, the extrovert. There's the toxic types. Male chauvinist types. There's the pretty boys. I mean, there's all types. So what kind of father do you want to be? That's first and foremost. You know, take each day as it comes, as Yanni said. And if it gets too much, reach out to the House of Lords right here on YouTube. Other than that, I don't know what to say to you. Just enjoy fatherhood. And if it gets too much, reach out. And if you don't want to reach out to us, reach out to someone. Don't bottle it up like us old dinosaurs had to do when we were young. Fucking all right. And 6 months later, bad back and fucking dodgy everything else and just plowed shit out the next door neighbour because he looked at you wrong, but he didn't know that he got 7 months of grief that you was getting from the geezer at work that you didn't act upon. Let's not do that. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yanni, that's what's on the pitbull.
See, those gremlins are trying to get into that throat there. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it, the man of the hour, dude himself. Carl, hit the pinboard. And we're back, gentlemen.
You know, listening to
that was... Go on, mate.
Listening to you, Carl, brought me back to the times. Do you remember the times when man, if they had a disagreement and they couldn't agree, they will have a couple of punches with each other and then they move on, right? And then later on became some of the best friends that you could ever have, right? Nowadays, you can't even look at the guys. It's like, you looked at me in a minute. It's like, no wonder people are like, yeah, how? And it's nothing to point fingers at anyone. It's for whatever's happening with manhood and fatherhood. It's on us as men. It's no one else. Because we agreed to just get along. And I'm not meaning me and you, but us as men together, right? Because some of us still speak out, but we've been suppressed by the others anyway. The best they can, but now it's coming more and more out because more and more are starting to speak out, which it's great to see that, right? Because there's more men are speaking out, and it's like, no, you want a peace? Come and get it. You know, that's the man way, right? That you used to, and we didn't used to do it the way nowadays. Is all this cowardly way going with the knife from behind and all the bullshit. No, it was a totally different world. Maybe I don't know how it was in the West, but in the East, that's how it was, right? Where I grew up. You know, people would go to the bars or whatever, get drunk and have an argument, go outside, not even fight in the bar. They would go outside the bar, have a punch out, and then they go back in and finish the drink. You know, it's just, that's how it used to be when I grew up.
Yeah, when we were growing up.
And it's not that I'm promoting, you know, some people say, "Oh, you promote, all of this." No. I'm just saying that back then, by doing that, we didn't end up with all these people in prison for a punch, all these people that end up, being suppressed in whatever ways for something that wasn't. I mean, as men, we can take it. It's something that we develop, but at the same time, we are here because we as men, collectively, have allowed the other men to do that, right? It's just, that's what it is.
Feels like that. Feels that way to me. Does feel as if
because we didn't feel threatened, and because of that, it happened, right? Because let's put it this way: Amanda knows his not worth, but who he is as a man. Doesn't feel threatened no matter what happens out there. But no realizing by not saying anything is going to have an impact on them. That's what's happened.
All right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're definitely right. But you know what I was laughing at? I was laughing because when you started that sentence, right? I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
You like, when a man like this, and you were like this, a man's gonna know his. I was like, oh,
no,
that's on tape.
I do it with, like with my finger out, like. That's how he appeared. You're a dirty man, Ian. You're a dirty man. You're a dirty man.
It's just in there. I've heard.
That's a good one, Carl. That's a good one. Put it on. Put it on.
Hey, only press that button, mate. It is that time of the show for the last and final segment of the House of Lords for another evening with Tip of the Day with the Right Honourable Iani.
Thank you. Older, settle down. It's all good, man. We're all here, right? We're chilling, and thank you for that whistle over there in the back there, Trisha. Cheers for that. So, what are we talking about? Tip of the day. Well, what have we been discussing? Fatherhood and Men's Mental Health Month. Okay, let's just let that ring out. June is Men's Mental Health Month. Okay, if I say that 7 times, right, and you listen to it, you'll always remember that. So what I want you to do is just rewind another 5 and you're good. Yeah, just rewind. Men's mental. Okay, I want you to remember that, because you see, that seems to be, that supersedes everything else, right? It's about to be women's mental health, I'm sure. We need to find out when that is so we can be ready for that one. But right now it's June, so let's focus on the men. And tip of the day, really, it's like what there's something that comes up. A colleague of mine, a friend of mine, a little genius, right? Proper genius. He always used to say this, and today I'm bringing this in to the situation. He said, protect your mental. That's what he said. Protect your mental. And I say to myself, what does that mean? And I thought about it. I understood it. I discussed it with him to be sure that I was on the same wavelength. I walked away richer for the experience, for the experience. And thus, today, I'm able to bring it to you. My tip of the day is protect your mental. And what do you think I'm talking about? Protect your mental. Well, as we're focusing on the gentlemen, allow me to demonstrate what I mean by protecting your mental, right? So, your mental, my mental. I'll tell you what. Let me make a demonstration based on what one of my brothers told me the other day. So, the way I have gone about protecting my mental, especially over let's just focus on the last 4 to 5 years, right? Let's just focus in, because we know a bunch of madness has taken place, right? I took the time out to engage in protecting my mental. And what was that? That's my mind, okay? My headspace. How did I go about protecting my headspace, you may ask? Well, if you must ask, I'll let you know. I decided to start with silence. I shut off all the noise. Internet, phones, like put them on silent. I don't watch television anyway, so I didn't really have all of that going on. Radio, shut that down. Screens, just really focused it on music that I was creating and simple things that I was creating, and that's it. I didn't have the din of the West pouring in. So that was one of the first ways in which I began to protect my mental in this particular, crazily infused time. Then I reinforced that, obviously, with other inner scenarios, thought process, reflection, introspection, things that, meaning I'm observing my journey thus far. I'm looking at where my lessons were presented, where my attempts were thwarted by my own lack of comprehension, and then where I overcame those and could now utilize those and go forward. There was a lot of that going on too. And you know what? Whilst I was doing that, I wasn't hearing from Anderson Cooper and all that lot. I wasn't hearing from Saturday Night Live and all that lot. I wasn't hearing from the BBC and all that lot. I wasn't hearing from people attempting, right, to derail and destabilize my mental. So at the end of 2020, I can confess to you and let you know right now, I felt really guilty for a minute at New Year's Eve 2020 when I was celebrating the end of the year. And the fact that I felt really nice, actually. I felt cool, I felt mellow, I felt chilled, and most people were freaked out. But I quietly felt that way, and I said, oh, I feel guilty. But yet, I was happy. You know why? Because I protected my mental. I wasn't frazzled, I wasn't running up and down, I wasn't shouting in the stores, why won't you let me in? I know my rights. I feel threatened because you're not wearing a mask. I didn't have to engage in any of that madness. Yeah? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here with us today, wonderful. If you were shown this later on, welcome. My tip of the day is protect your mental.
And there you had it, the right honourable tip of the day with Iani. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this here episode of the House of Lords Introduction to Love and Light right here on YouTube. The next available episode will be coming up on Thursday. Launch time will be 2200 hours GMT. And we'll still have the same fabulous dynamic trio, myself, the Right Honourable Marius, and the Right Honourable Yanni. Thank you for some of the points that were put down in the chat. I saw some interesting stuff there. I think it was Naomi mentioning her son, his girlfriend are expecting a baby, and her son never experienced a father. So we can understand the troubles of what's being presented on that one. But congratulations to them both. Equally, you know, the other individuals in there are also showing their respects and gratitude for the show. You know who we are. You are, and we love you to bits. But it is about that time where we're gonna bid you farewell.
So if you
farewell.
I was gonna pop up the
what?
I was gonna pop up the
email address.
Email, that's right, mate. Bosh.
Email address.
Do you know what I mean? As we end this one, do you know what I mean? If you feel like you need to express yourself. Boom, if you feel you need to do that, you need to maybe double down on a question or two. Want some answers, maybe? If we can help, why don't you write to us? The House of Lords 3 at gmail.com. Again, that's the House of Lords 3 at gmail.com.
Yeah, at the same time, I would like to say, agree with Carl and just celebrate and congratulate Naomi's son. And Naomi, you'll be a grandmother.
Oh, wow! Eastern, see, that's them Eastern Europeans, bruv. They don't give a fuck, do they? trampoline.
That's it. You old now. Old now. No party for you, Naomi. But that being said, from all of us here at the House of Lords, nothing but love and light to you and yours. Again, same time, same place, Thursday night. Don't forget, while we're just on the old fade there, coming across this on playback, take a friend, share it with somebody. And if you've got any subject that you want to explore on the House of Lords, or you would like to get behind what we're doing, feel free to reach out to us. That is the House of Lords 3 at gmail.com. I'll give you that one more time before we're gone. The House of Lords 3 at gmail.com.